And they always say, these reactionaries, these anti-gay people, they always say when they discuss gay marriage, well, at least they used to say this, put it up for a vote. Let the people decide. Well, since now the people are deciding that they're in favor of gay marriage, that's sort of now they're viewing it as more like a delay tactic, and that's what they try to do in France. Oh, let the people vote and all that. That's the tactic that Brian Brown, who makes $500,000 a year, just wearing a suit and being a choir boy for the anti-gay industrial complex. So they say put it up for a vote because it's about democracy. But that doesn't make sense though. And because I've looked at this at length, their claim about how important it is for the people to vote on gay marriage and see whether or not a majority can vote on something that a few people are doing. Um, that's that's really weird in a way. But okay, you know, I think personally, if we have the votes, then let the people vote. That's what I say. And there's nothing wrong with asking people. I don't think morally there's nothing wrong with it because people can change their minds, and it's just roll of the dice, and that's what it is. You keep rolling the dice until you win. And once you win, you win. You only need to win once. Okay? I mean, that's the way I view it. And even though I feel it's pretty weird, but if it's the only way to get it done, then it's get it done. In Oregon, they're gonna do that. They're gonna vote on it. They're gonna put it up for up for a vote in the upcoming election in 2014. I don't know if that's a good idea because most of the electorate is pretty reactionary. During the off presidential election years. Anyway, so these people, I mean, I looked at their arguments on why people should vote on gay marriage, and remember, they only use this argument when it really helped them, like during the 2004 elections and all that bullshit. And they use it to get all the votes for Bush, and that was Karl Rove's idea. And they try to keep the momentum going, so they created Nom and all this other shit. Uh, but I really thought about it, and I really thought about it. What do they mean, democracy and the people should govern themselves and all this bullshit? Yeah, you govern yourselves by electing your representatives to the legislature, and they make laws on your behalf. That's self-government. So when the state legislature of New York decided to legalize gay marriage, all these people were calling for a referendum, even though they don't do that in New York. No, you have a legislature and they decide the laws. Simple as that. And you had your chance. But they said, no, 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 the people have to vote on this. The people have to vote. And they did that with Maryland and they lost. And they did that with Washington State and then they lost. And then they tried to put a ballot initiative to amend the Constitution in Minnesota. They lost. And then in Maine, the gay people were the ones who put the question to the voters. And I think that was a very good strategy. But then you say, Jose, well, what if the right-wingers can get enough votes to overturn it in the next coming election? Well, that can happen. It's just a risk. But it's a risk worth taking because by the time that happens, it's going to be 2 years now, and I don't think that many people are willing to just pull out. And of course, there's a constitutional question if you do that. But then again, it was the voters who gave them the right to get married. But the people who are against gay marriage, for the most part, are basing their argument on something called natural law. And I'm going to get into that some other time, what that really means. It's not about, Mother Nature and all that. I mean, like, nature and science. It's all about Thomas Aquinas. It's a pseudo-science, pseudo-philosophy of worshipping the earth, worshipping the reproduction, worshipping the penis, the vagina, and the uterus. And that's what these people are. They worship the uterus. I mean, that's why they're so fixated on the fetus and all that bullshit. And so they say, because of natural law, it is impossible. It is impossible. I mean, you see many of these reactionary bishops from the Catholic Church. They say, oh, it's impossible for gay people to get married. It's an impossibility. It's not only unnatural, they say, but it's not based in reality. Really. So if it's unchangeable, because this is what they say, it's since time immemorial, this has always been this way, and it's the basic fundamental right. I mean, a basic fundamental building block of society, and you can't mess with it. Don't redefine marriage. It is the building block of society. And those who redefine marriage, society will fall, children will die, or whatever excuse, or doomsday, fear-mongering bullshit they give out. So if they say, and that's their idea, that you cannot, under any circumstances, redefine marriage, then why would you let the people decide on this then? If it's not changeable, non-negotiable. That's what you're saying. Non-negotiable. You cannot redefine marriage that way. Of course, it's been redefined several times before. But you cannot redefine marriage to allow gay people in. And if you do, you're going to have so much disaster. Doomsday. Everything's going to collapse. The economy's going to collapse. Whatever stupid reason. God's going to come down and eat you alive or something. I mean, that's what they're going to say. And that's what they're saying. It's non-negotiable. You cannot change the definition of marriage. Non-negotiable. If you change it, it's doomed. And I heard that from a gay conservative who told me that, oh my God, you want to redefine marriage? If you do that, it's going to be doomed. I'm like, oh, what the fuck are you talking about, you paranoid freak? You're not really based on reality. You have these weird fantasies. You want marriage to be doomed? For what? So you can get your satisfaction that you were right? The fuck's the matter with you? Fucking lunatic. Oh, but he said, it's going to cause all this, it's going to destroy the foundation of society. Well, he's a Catholic, so whatever. So if that is the case, if you cannot redefine, then why are you people, the same people who say this garbage, why do they insist that we put it up for a vote? If you put it up for a vote, it can go either way. So why are you putting something that is so fundamental, so sacred, so important for the cohesion of society, the basic fundamental building block, God's sanctity, God's ordained institution of marriage? Why would you put it up for a vote then, if it's so sacred? Don't put it up for a vote, especially if you're in the blue state, right? Wouldn't that be the strategy? Oh, but you put it up for a vote. And when you did put it up for a vote a few years ago, you had the upper hand. Now that you don't have the upper hand, what are you going to do now? Are you still going to say, put it up for a vote? Put it up for a vote. So if we put it up for a vote, people might decide, yes, legalize gay marriage. Going against your basic fundamental, oh no, now we're going to see doomsday approach and encroach on our surroundings. Society is going to break down because of gay marriage. That's what they say. But yet we put it up for a vote in 4 states. I call bullshit. How about you? I think if we call out their bluff, that They cannot have it both ways. They cannot say democracy, let the people decide. It's the right of the people to know how they're gonna define marriage. It's the people that they should decide. It's self-governance, liberty, all this stupid cliches. And I mean, stupid. Well, I wouldn't say stupid. I would say irrelevant. So then they say that, and then at the same time they say, well, you can't change this definition of marriage because if you do, society will be destroyed. So if that's the case, then don't put it up for a vote. It's unchangeable. It's non-negotiable. So the reality is they're not really, either they are really for democracy and no matter what happens, they'll accept the reality on a given election if they put it up for a vote, or if they're really not about democracy and this whole bullshit about let the people vote is all about stopping gay marriage, not, they don't care a rat's ass about democracy. I mean, if they really did, would they allow those long lines during the election? No, they wouldn't. If you were pro-democracy and you were, to let the people vote, then why should people wait 7 hours, 8 hours to wait in line? Fucking retards. Hypocrites. And they're the ones with the Republican Party that have made those environments possible. They shut down polling places. They shorten up the early voting days and the hours, and so there are long lines. And because they didn't want people to vote in certain areas, and that's really stupid. And but hey, we're for democracy. Whatever. No, you're not. You just don't want gay people to get married. Admit it. That's what it is. And that's all that it is.